Hello, my name is Jeremy Roberts, and for my Kucha assignment, I will be showing you how a manga is made. I will talk to you about the materials that they use, the steps they go through, and show you a couple of examples of them. So, manga artists are usually referred to as mangakas, and every artist has their own style and things such as that for their artwork, their story, and they have to learn the different types, which is shonen and shoujo, each one appealing to different audiences. So, the first one, shonen, literally means few years, and a lot of times it's basically for boys. It's aimed directly at boys. They usually age from between elementary school and high school, and the stories usually have a lot of fighting, some blood, and the main character is usually a male. An example of this would be Dragon Ball. The main character is a boy, and there's lots of fighting. Other examples would be Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, Dead Man Wonderland, Code Geass, and then several sports-related ones, which would be Slam Dunk for basketball and Fighting Spirit for boxing. Each one, the hero is a male. So, for shoujo, it means young girl, obviously aimed for a female audience. It basically involves a lot of drama, love, interests, relationship events, and things such as that for emotions. It usually has the hero be, should be humans though, majority is what they are. Example of this would be Cardcaptor Sakura, Fruits Baskets, Ouran High School Host Club, Sailor Moon, and Vampire Knight. Off to the side here, the image of Ouran High School, a lot of young boys, obviously appeals to the female audience. So, the first thing that they do is they draw, obviously. Manga is another word for graphics novel, but here in the US, they're basically the Japanese version of the US's comic books. Every artist has their different strengths and weaknesses. Some are better with drawing, some are better with shading. A lot of the materials that they use, everyone uses pretty much the same thing. They use pencils and erasers. A lot of times they're going to be mechanical, and then they use ink pens and cutting boards. The ink pens are to do the outlines of their images. Other times they use rulers, they use black and white ink, paintbrushes, feather duster like the one off to the side to get rid of eraser shavings, and then a light box to help them in their for them to trace if they need to. The typical manga artist workplace is usually going to be their apartment. They're filled with a number of desks for the artist and for his or her assistants. They usually stay in the same room. They have kitchens, bathrooms, and storage rooms. And the storage rooms usually is where they keep all their supplies. For serialization, manga artists don't usually get first try. They have to go through maybe up to 5 times at least. And they're always given an editor to work with. So the editor will usually help them out, tell them what's going on with the process and things such as that. He'll tell them like what will work and what won't, and sometimes he'll even completely just reject it, and they'll have to start over from scratch, telling them that it's just no good, or they have to just start over and go with a different, or it might not be to their strengths. After they get serialized, they usually get a brand new editor to work with. For their assistants, they usually have about 3 to 4 assistants. Women manga artists typically usually want to have other female assistants just to help them out, makes them feel more comfortable, and they usually do the tones, the colors, the backgrounds, and they help the artist whenever he or she needs it. The artists will usually first come up with the name of the manga that they want, and then they come up with the idea, the story, and things such as that. And they draw up a draft, and they have it reviewed by the editor. During that time, the editor will read the entire thing, and then they start discussing what needs to be fixed, changed, removed, and all that sort. After it's approved, they begin working on a manuscript paper. The artist will, once he finishes sketching, they'll begin to ink it out like the one you see here in this image, and they'll start labeling parts that the assistants will begin to work with. This is an example of what the assistants will end up doing. Every black solid object lines there, or sorry, parts there are done by the assistants because they've been labeled to do that. And they've also go and they erased all the pencil marks and lines that the artist had previously put in. Also, a lot of times, if the manga artist is manga is going to be on the cover of magazines, they'll usually have color pages, which the assistants will also begin to do. Each assistant usually has their own specialization. Some are better at coloring and shading, and others are better at inking. This is usually the typical schedule for a manga artist. As you can see, their days are pretty full. Not a lot of free time, which is what the white is there. Otherwise, they only meet with their editors on Thursdays and such, just to work out the kinks. After that, they begin to print, and they'll usually be put into convenience stores or into bookstores like the one at the very bottom, which is a pure manga store. After that, it's up to the public to decide which ones work and which ones don't. Here are a few recommendations for manga if you feel like reading them. One is Bakuman, which is basically the entire story of two high schoolers that want to become manga artists. And then on the bottom is Clanad, which I have not read or watched, but told is very, very sad and will make you cry.